Bonjour. My name is Jeremy Nguyen. I am met in high school class of 2018, and I've studied French for 10 years, going on 11, so pretty much half my life now. And I just wanted to share with you some of the ways in which language studies have positively impacted me.
Hey y'all, my name is Ben Fuhrer and I graduated from Mendon in 2020. I currently go to Tulane University and I'm going into my sophomore year now. But I am a Spanish major at Tulane and I took Spanish like all my years since like middle school. And I just decided to stick with it.
Hola a todos, soy Micaela. I am an alum of Pittsford Sutherland. I graduated in 2014. Since then, I attended a 4-year liberal arts college, Hobart and William Smith. I graduated from there in 2018, and after graduating, I have lived abroad in Spain teaching English. I've taught Spanish back here in the States, and I am currently preparing to start a full-time program at the Harvard Ed School for my master's in educational leadership this fall.
Salve, my name is Avery Parker. I graduated from Mendon in 2020, and I took Latin for all 4 years of high school, and before that for 3 years of middle school, so really 7 years altogether. And I'd like to talk to you a little bit today about how languages positively impacted me and why you should continue taking it.
Hi guys, my name is Abby Leon. I'm a 2016 graduate from Pittsford Mendon, and I'm currently in PA school in Albany, New York. I took Spanish from 6th grade all the way through my senior year of high school. This is something I decided to do for a couple of reasons. One of them was that it really benefited me when I was going on to my undergraduate studies because it allowed me to receive some college credits as well as take a test to be able to test out of a couple of the lower level courses. So it helped me get a couple credits as well as get my degree faster because I was able to step into some of those higher level classes sooner.
Bonjour, my name is Maddie Miller and I graduated from Pittsford Mendon in 2016. I graduated from the United States Military Academy at West Point in 2020, where I majored in French. I've studied French for a total of 11 years. I would like to share with you some of the ways in which my language studies have positively impacted me.
Bonjour, my name is Hunter Phillips, and I graduated from Mendon in 2018. Currently, I am a senior and an English and History double major at the College of William and Mary, and I studied French for 7 years and would like to share with you some of the ways in which my language studies have positively impacted me.
One other opportunity that I had to use the language was when I studied abroad in the Netherlands, but I was able to go to Brussels in Belgium, where they do a significant amount of people there speak French, especially in the capital of Brussels. And one of my favorite memories was going to the comic book museum and buying a ticket in French, and he would respond to me in French, and I understood him. And it was really cool for me, just being able to understand each other.
Number one, because I was pretty good at it and I enjoyed doing it. But number two, I just think it will open up more opportunities for me, and I really see a future in which there's going to be a larger portion of the population speaking Spanish, and also just the areas I want to live in southern Florida and stuff, there will be large Spanish speaking populations. And I just would like to, because I'm also a psychology major, and I would like to be able to reach more people and be able to travel to foreign countries and whatnot, Spanish foreign countries, be able to speak the language.
I really didn't imagine myself kind of continuing with my Spanish journey much beyond my first year or two of college. And I ended up majoring in Spanish and then becoming a Spanish teacher. So I was really thankful to have continued with Spanish all 4 years because when I went into college, I actually got to test right into 200 level courses. So I didn't have to take any introduction classes, and I started taking courses that counted towards my major right off the bat, which was really helpful.
Taking Latin has made it much easier to understand Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, French. because they all derive from Latin, and so you have a much stronger basis for understanding English and other Romance languages.
The other reason I did it was because I thought it would benefit me in my future career in medicine, something it definitely has and will continue to. I worked both at Rochester General as well as Golisano Children's Hospital, and in both of those situations, I found myself working with a lot of Spanish-speaking patients. To be able to communicate with your patients and not have to find a translator or use an app is something that I found was super beneficial, and it not only helped out my patients, but as well as the staff.
I have grown immensely in my language skills since 8th grade. I was only able to have basic conversations, and my accent was not great. Now I can confidently interact with native French speakers. My vocabulary and grammar have improved greatly, as well as my overall understanding of the cultures and traditions of various French-speaking regions.
Like everyone else, I started out taking French in middle school to fulfill the language requirement, but soon I fell in love with the language and realized that I had a passion for language learning. When the time came to choose whether to stop taking French after the requirement period was over, it was an easy decision for me. It gave me the opportunity to immerse myself in another culture and become a more globally minded citizen. But if I'm being honest, the biggest reason I stuck with learning French was because of how fun it was. I had the opportunity to translate these powerful stories for my group, and I will never forget that.
French just like kind of taught me about English, and then for Vietnamese, I'm really fascinated about how the Vietnamese language took a lot of things from their French colonial influence. I think learning a new language definitely helps you in your college search, and I think it really goes beyond undergrad, because once you're applying to grad school, to med school, dental school, whatever, they're really looking for people with like the cultural competence. And I think knowing a language kind of helps you be immersed into that culture more, and that's something that kind of sets you apart. Having the cultural competence, having the skill of knowing another language, it does set you apart from other people.
And once you start to get to Spanish 4 and 5 and stuff, they really challenge you and make you step out of your comfort level. And it's like those experiences, the parts where you're uncomfortable, that will actually make you learn more.
Good luck, keep taking Spanish because it's an amazing subject, and you will find that you use Spanish all the time. I have been in so many situations where I've run into native speakers and I've been able to use my Spanish to help, to receive help. And it's with the global world that we live in, it's an amazing skill, and you will not regret continuing to take it.
When you're involved in a language, you start to feel connected to it and connected to the materials that you study in it. Like thinking about translating poems by, ancient poets like Catullus. These are texts that a lot of people in, American society and in the world generally don't really interact with. They're a little bit more, esoteric. They're more rare, and so you really do get to sort of form a sense of like community, and you're connecting with these authors in their native language from hundreds and thousands of years ago, and getting to see the things that they struggled with, the things that they were passionate about, the things that they wanted to write about, and it's really interesting to be able to like have that knowledge of of people so far removed from us in time, at least from our perspectives, and get to sort of poke into their minds a little bit.
At West Point, I was able to travel 3 times as a cadet with the French department. I spent 3 weeks at a French soldier immersion center where I befriended other soldiers from countries all around the world, including Lebanon, Jordan, Egypt, Equatorial Guinea, and more. It was quite a unique experience because the only language we all had in common was French.
When you're reading Julius Caesar, you're able to understand the military mind of the Roman Empire. You're able to understand how, sort of ancients thought about like people that lived apart from where they lived, at least where they centrally lived, and understand that the ways that they interacted with the world, and that can sort of help understand the way that we interact with the world, or that other cultures have interacted with the world. Even with like things like mythology, you get sort of an insight into the values of ancient cultures and the things that they thought were important to teach to each other and to kids. And
I also traveled to Gabon for 3 weeks, a small French-speaking country in Central Africa. There, we shadowed cadets at the Gabonese Military Academy, toured their military high school, spent time at the United States Embassy, and interviewed with the Gabonese government and military officials. Lastly, I traveled to Paris for 1 week to conduct research for my capstone project. I studied the overall effectiveness of France's current counterterrorism strategy. Overall, I've had numerous travel opportunities to use my French language and culture skills, and I've made many friends all around the world. Studying language absolutely differentiates students from their peers, whether it is applying for colleges or competing for an internship or a job. As an American, communicating proficiently in a language other than English is rare and definitely an underutilized skill. Studying language has helped me grow not only as a global citizen. As an Army officer, cultural competency and effectively interacting with those of different upbringings is imperative to accomplishing any mission. We regularly work with our NATO allies and must communicate with our partner forces in deployed environments. Simply knowing another language in these situations is extremely helpful, and years of exposure to different cultures around the world have elevated me far above my peers.
But I can tell you from firsthand experience that when you were at a little corner bakery in a rural part of France, and you engage the owner in their native language and see their face brighten up when they expected you to just be an annoying American tourist, in that moment, you realize how special and important learning another language is, and you will not regret it. And as far as life experience, some of the most special moments in my life, like that trip to Normandy.
C'est pourquoi on espérait la libération, mais on se disait, est-ce que ça sera possible?
They thought to themselves and they hoped for liberation, but they also asked themselves if it was possible.
Oui. Quand on voyait les forces allemandes, on se disait, les Alliés pourront-ils venir nous délivrer? On avait très peur parce qu'on se disait, les Allemands qu'est-ce qu'ils vont nous faire quand ils vont partir, et puis on va être bombardés, tout ça. Mais quand même, on espérait que vous réussissiez.
When they first saw the Germans, they had still hoped to be relieved of their occupation, but they were also worried about what they were going to do when the Germans left and about the bombing.
Happened because of my choice to continue with French even when I did not have to. And if I can recommend anything to anyone, it is to keep learning French, to keep learning whatever language you are learning, and then go on to learn another language. The doors that it opens and the experiences you will have because of learning a language will benefit you for a lifetime. Culturally, I would be wildly uninformed without learning French. We live in a world that enjoys pitting person against person, country against country. And the single greatest thing my French education gave me was the knowledge that language is power and healing. Learning another language connects you to other people and crosses divides in a way that nothing else does.